Hello, everybody. I'm back. Welcome back to an Irish Ramble. I have been gone for 3 weeks, and I haven't been gone anywhere. I've just not been doing this. So, before I get into this episode, I just want to say I'm back. I'm gonna hopefully be doing this every other week, like I did at the start. I so what? It's been 3 weeks now since my last episode. The reason why I didn't do one the first week that I missed was because I just wasn't feeling it. I kind of, not that I fell out of love with it. I mean, I only did 5 episodes, but I just felt like it wasn't kind of going the way I wanted it to go in regards to the way I had it structured, the things I wanted to talk about, and the feedback that I was getting back from people. But you can't just quit like that. You know what I mean? The second week that I didn't do it, I was away, so I didn't have my stuff with me the days that I was off. So I was like, well, I'm not doing it, obviously. And now I'm back. This is my third time trying to record this. Both times, people have interrupted me. So if someone interrupts me right now, I'm going to keep this rolling and you'll see me batter the fuck out of them. But yeah, about feedback, I wasn't really getting any feedback whether things were good or bad or indifferent, and it was kind of leaving me in this kind of middle ground of not knowing what I wanted to do moving forward. So if you have any sort of constructive criticism, whether it's good or bad, please let me know. Also, if there's anything that you want me to talk about or anything you want me to mention in any episode, please send it to me on the Instagram so I actually know what to talk about. That would be great. Thank you very much. So, another reason before I get into that, what I actually want to talk about today. Another reason that I didn't want to do it was because the other mic didn't come, and it's fucking annoying. Because well, I got the money back for it. It's not as if I was scammed or anything, but yeah, I don't have the other mic, and I really do want to make episodes with other people because like that's what the fun is about. Do you know what I mean? Like it's hard talking to yourself the whole time when you actually have to lay out things to say and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll get another mic soon. I say that, but I definitely won't. The noises that are going off in my head are absolutely ridiculous. I got a fucking email and it nearly shattered my brain cells. Um. So yeah. Um. Also, another thing is this equipment costs a lot of money. This laptop costs a lot of money. So it'd be a shame if I didn't continue doing this. Now I am using it for other things. I'm using it for music. I'm still trying to making beats on this is fucking ridiculous. Some of it's really hard to do, but then some of it's really fun. So I've been practicing with that a lot. But I need to actually make music properly. I still haven't gotten extra strings for the guitar that's just sitting over there looking at me. So I need to do that. But anyway, what we're going to talk about today. So I have a couple of questions, and by a couple I mean literally just two. Um, so we'll do them, and then we'll talk about where I went away. We'll talk about my tooth, which sounds a bit strange. We'll talk about a break in, you know, uh, which is what's that thing called? What the fuck am I trying to say? I don't even know. Clickbait, that's it. It's not really clickbait, but kind of. We're gonna do nonce of the week because people just be noncing, and that is absolutely disgraceful. We're gonna talk about the books I've been reading, and we're gonna finish off on weird headlines. So the first thing I'm gonna talk about is the questions that I got. I got two questions. Also, please send me questions. That'd be great. Because I don't want to make up questions. That'd be quite sad to be doing. Being like, oh, this person asked this question when it's actually just me in my room crying while I'm typing them down. So I got asked, what was the best concert, event, and party you've ever been to? So this question I think was put in as in like which was the best of one of these that you've been to. But I'm gonna go the best of each. So the best concert that I've ever been to, there has been a couple of answers. I put in three answers here for different reasons. So one of them was Sagala. I mean, who the fuck is Sagala? Anyone remember that? But I was what was I like 17 or 18? No, I was 17 going to Sagala It was in the academy in Dublin, and it was just such a funny night. It was a night that I wasn't expecting, and it was just deadly. It was absolutely class. But I used to be such a weird person. Like I would just be like like fucking shuffling around the place, doing the running man, doing everything. And I like looking back, I definitely look like a fool. But what can you do? You're only 17 months. But that was a great concert. Another one was J Cole. Now I was 16 or 17 going to this, and I had the munchies the whole way through it. I mean, I was stuffing my face with popcorn non-stop. I'd say if anyone looked at me, I couldn't even recognize them. All I could think about how good that popcorn was. Uh, even thinking back to it now, that was class popcorn. Um, and then, but no, J Cole was unbelievable. A side note: J Cole and Kendrick Lamar. Oh, like I love Kendrick Lamar and I love J Cole, and like Kendrick when he started going after, doing that Drake and J Cole diss. I mean, Kendrick is clear. He is clearly on top, but I like kind of in the past couple, like maybe 5 or 6 years, I was like, no, J. Cole is the best rapper alive. And his reply was just so bad. He had maybe two good lines in it. And like, Kendrick went after him, hoping he'd reply purely because Kendrick has another verse or two stored away to fucking obliterate him, but I don't even think he needs to. And J. Cole's album might delete later, he might as well just delete it now because it just was not good. But um, yeah. Also, Future is a menace. Future is a menace to society. But like they're all, it's so childish. Like imagine if I made a song being like, "Oh yeah, well I fucked your bitch." Everyone would be like, "What age are you?" But these are grown ass men, nearly 40. I think Drake is over 40. These are grown ass men being like, "Oh yeah, well, I took your woman." I mean, no, I took your woman. It's just insane to me. These are fucking millionaires too. But sorry, that was a sidetrack. The next question was, if you could have a meal with anyone dead or alive, who would it be and why? So I decided to do both instead of just doing dead or alive. So I wouldn't pick anyone in my family that's passed away because I just think let them have their sleep. I don't want to wake anybody up, but the person I pick who's dead is Sean Locke. Now, you'd probably know Sean Locke from 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown and shows like that. He was a British comedian. He was just so funny. He was just such a funny dude. Um, I'd like to talk to him purely because I'd like to know what he was actually like, but also we could maybe play a card in the box. If you don't know what that is, look it up. It's absolutely fucking hilarious. See, that's how the meal would start. And then as we move on, I just ask him about his life being a comic because I kind of always, like I say, I always thought, I didn't always think about wanting to be a comedian, but like when you're younger and you're not good looking, you kind of have to be funny to be able to talk to anybody. And I never knew the fine line between being funny and being annoying. And it's only now, as I've grown up, I was like, oh, okay, so I was just really annoying to most people and then funny sometimes. So, uh, yeah, I'd like to talk to him, see what it was like for him growing up, and also talk about just his life. Because I mean, he was a funny dude. Uh, R.I.P. Sean Locke. And then the person who is alive. Now this one is a bit of a weird one. Um, but the person I want to have a meal with who is alive is the one and only Will Smith. Will Smith slapped Chris Rock at the Oscars. In case you didn't know. Um, yeah, this is a weird one, but I'm taking it as if whatever I ask them, they're going to be able to tell me, and they have to be truthful, like in at this meal. So I just feel like I'd like to know what the fuck is going on. I'd be like, "What is going on with you and that baldy?" And then he'd probably slap me because I called her bald. But I mean, that man has lost his soul in the past 3 or 4 years. He has lost every remnants of being a man. I don't mean being a man as in like, I just mean as being a person. Like, do you know what I mean? He's been ripped from the inside out, and then he had to sit on her podcast and fucking sit there while she talked about her still being in love with Tupac. And oh my god, you could just see his face. He was just an absolute finished man. Not a finished man from Finland. I just mean he was finished. Uh, but yeah, it's just a sad situation. So I'd talk to him, maybe give him a bit of counselling. You know what I mean? I feel like that man has definitely had a lot of counselling. He fucking needs it. Um. So yeah, only two questions this week. If anyone else has any questions, please let me know. And also anything to talk about at all. Send me stories. Send me things you want me to blind react to, because sometimes they're the best. So the next thing I want to talk about is, as I like fling this mic around, is where I went uh last week. So it was Anya's birthday. Everyone please wish Anya a happy belated birthday. Um we went to, where'd we go? Wicklow. Went to County Wicklow. We went to the Glenview, and I had to say the Glenview was so nice. It was just such a nice spot. It was like we were driving on the main road, and first of all, we kind of left a bit late because I was working nights, so I only woke up at around like 1:30. We got leaving at around 2, 2:30. Then of course I had to stop and get a Subway and just munch my food down me, which took so long. So then we were only getting there about, what was it, like 5, quarter past 5. This mic keeps flinging away from me. Um, yeah, so we only got there around like quarter past 5. But I have to say the hotel was absolutely lovely. It was like you drove up and you were just covered by trees, and then as soon as you got up the drive, there was a Bentley just sitting out, and I was like, oh yeah, now we're talking. This is a good spot, just purely because of the car that was sitting there. Which I also feel like that is just why it's there, because it was sitting there the whole time we were there. But you could see a view of the mountains in the background, and yeah, it just looked unreal. So we went in, and as Anya was kind of like checking in with the woman at the desk, I was looking around and seeing there was so many awards for like best wedding venue 2018, 2019, 2021, 2022, and I was like, oh, okay. And being like, oh fuck, hopefully Anya doesn't see this. I was like, I don't want to be talking about weddings anytime soon. So I was just looking and being like, oh yeah, look outside. That's lovely, isn't it? Just trying to avoid the big fucking shiny cabinet with all these awards. But uh, we got up to the room, we got settled, and then we went down to the beach. And lucky enough, the 2 days we were there. So the first day we went to Greystones, the second day we went to Bray. Both times we were there, it was good weather. It was a bit windy, but that was about it. And as soon as we got into the car, it started raining. So we managed to stay completely dry. Thank fuck. But whenever, like, obviously, like when I was there, I was taking pictures, just at the beach and stuff like that. But I was taking pictures with Anya in them, and then anytime Anya got her phone out, I get so awkward when it comes to being in a photo. Now I used to love being in photographs. I used to love being like, oh yeah, let's get a picture, let's get a picture. But I just can't do it anymore, and I find it so awkward. So Anya was like taking the video of like just the sea, and I was just like, oh my god. I was like, I need to look away. So I was just here while she was doing this. I was like, if that camera comes to me, I'm just going to consistently look away. Which, when you're taking videos or pictures for memories, is not really the best thing to do. So Anya nearly has to force me to be like, would you just stop and fuck it to stand there for a picture? Which is a completely normal thing to do. And if Anya ever did that to me, I'd be like, what are you doing? Stop being silly. But I just can't do it. I can't do it. So I need to get better at actually standing still and not feeling awkward. Um, which is a big ask. I will say that. So what else happened? Yeah. Um, when we were leaving, it was like the next morning. Fucking, they had an espresso machine, right? But they only had decaf coffees for it, and then actual coffee, you just had to use the kettle. Which I was like, what's the point in having an espresso machine? just to give us decaf coffee. Who the fuck wants decaf coffee? But Anya decided. I was like, yeah, I want a decaf coffee. I want to use the fancy machine. Took out the back fucking thing for where the water is. Went and brought it to fill it up with water. Dropped it and smashed it on the ground. I was like, can't believe you just smashed the back of the Nespresso machine on the fucking ground. So that was a whole ordeal. But listen, we're in the clear. You know, we're smooth sailing now. Um. Also, on the way home, we went by Dundrum, and then I think it was Dundrum, was it? Yeah, went by Dundrum, and then on the way home, I just put into Google Maps like how to get home, like back onto the motorway, and I went by the quickest option. And this is the second time this happened to me. I just need to look at where it's taking me. It took us by the port, like Dublin port, where I then had to spend like €16 on tolls just to get through the port. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, usually you just pay the M50 and pay the normal toll, and then it's what, like €7 and you're done. I had to pay double that just nearly to get past the port. Oh, it was so annoying. It was so annoying. And like the first one was like €3. The second one was like €12. And then the next one, like going past Strada, was what, like two something. That's a fortune. Imagine doing going that way both times. You're like, oh, it was a nightmare. It was an absolute nightmare. But hey, listen, it was a good wee breakaway. It was also nice to just get away with Anya. We're going away again at the end of this month. We're going to Belfast because I bought tickets for the Bomb Squad pod, and that's in the waterfront. And Anya booked us a wee night away as well. So thank you very much, Anya. What a goat! Also bringing me away the whole time. This is fucking deadly. Um, what was I going to say? Oh yeah. So I was supposed to see Colin Geddes, who's a comedian. He's one half of the Bomb Squad pod. He was playing in the Spirit Store in Dundalk, and I bought tickets for that. But then I had to go into work early, so I couldn't even go to the fucking thing. So this is now two comedians that I've missed. So the first one was James Acaster, and the same thing happened with work. And the second one was Colin Geddes. So I just don't think I'm supposed to see any comedians. Um, and obviously I need to like say it with plenty more time with work, but both times it just didn't work out. So it's quite annoying. But um, yeah, nothing I can do. I'll enjoy this one though. I'll enjoy the Bottom Squad because those two bastards are very funny. I mean, I would say go listen to them, but I mean, chances are you're not gonna like them, but I do, so I don't care. Um, on to the next thing. This actually happened as soon as like the day I recorded the last episode, which was what was 3 weeks ago now, almost 3 weeks to the day. But I recorded the episode as a grand. Now I can just get ready for work. Got ready, got in the car, and this is at around 9:30. So I usually no, it was about 25 to 9, 25 to 10. Sorry, I leave at that time to get into work for like 10 to or 5 to, and I got in. Started the car, got a chewing gum out of the container that was in the car, popped it in my mouth, and bit down, and then my tooth shattered. So it was one of the teeth at the back of my mouth on the right hand side. I literally bit down and it just disintegrated into four pieces. And instantly my heart sank. I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe. Do you know when you don't even really understand what's going on? It just like, because I felt something wrong. I just bit down once and it was gone. So then I was just like left in the car being like, just like my mouth was just like, I felt like my mouth was just filling up, but it wasn't. There was only a bit of chewing gum and my teeth stuck in my mouth. So I went in as any person does and go, "Mom." I just fucking had to, like, I'm never gonna grow out of that. I was like, "Mom, what do I do? What do I do?" I was panicking. Like, I've never had anything wrong with my teeth ever. I've always been told that my teeth were perfect by every dentist that I've went to. But then I took that for granted because I didn't go to the dentist in the past 6 years. So I went and told mom, and then she was like, "Fuck, right, we'll get it sorted. Just go into work." And then I was like, "Okay, real sad." And then I spat the chewing gum out, and it was just a chewing gum with four pieces of my tooth stuck in it. So that wasn't ideal. Um, and then I had to go into work, and my mate was absolutely throbbing. It was so sore. But then the next day, I was lucky enough to get an appointment. Went into the dentist, and this motherfucker was so patronizing. I felt like obviously dentists want you to have good oral hygiene and all that, but which I do. I brush my teeth. I mean, I don't know what else I can do, but uh, she was like, yeah, she was like, when's the last time you were here? And I was like, well, maybe like 5, 6 years ago. And she was like, yeah. I was like, all right, fuck you, bitch. And then she asked me, she was like, do you smoke? And I was like, no, not anymore. And then she was like, you, well done, well done. And I was like, oh, I was like, I don't need all this patronizing shit. But then also, if she didn't say well done, I'd be like, why are you not telling me well done? I'm doing good right now. But then she asked me, like, do I drink any fizzy drinks? And I was like, no, not anymore. And then she was like, do you put sugar in your tea or coffee? I was like, no, not anymore. And she kind of looked at me. I was like, when did you stop all this? I was like, I stopped all this at the same time. I said 4 months ago then, but it's been about 5 months now. And she was like, oh, that's pretty impressive. She was like, well done, but we can just put this down as bad karma. And I was like, fair enough. And then I was like, how bad? And she said, I need 5 fillings. Now, I've never had a filling before. So this news was like her telling me I need my heart ripped out of my chest. And I was like, oh, that's so sad. I was just lying back on that seat with those weird ass sunglasses on that they give you. Just being like, oh, I can't believe this is my life now. I'm going to need 5 fillings. This is so depressing. But it was fine. She did one of them. She sorted out the bad tooth that was really bad. Um, and I have to go back at the end of the month now for the other four. So that was pretty disappointing. And also, it's a lot of money. I didn't realize how expensive the dentist was. But I mean, it's obviously going to be expensive because all the cars outside it were fucking unbelievable. They were all like brand new Audis, brand new fucking Beamer Jeeps and everything. I was like, oh damn, I need to be a dentist. But then continue to work the night shift, obviously. Um, and then also on the way out, I got into my car and this fella, oh my god, this man, how do I say this politely? This absolute junkie scumbag came up to me and was like, man, I'm only out of the cop shop. I'm only out. Do you have a fag? Do you have a cigarette, man? I'm only out of the cop shop. And I was looking at him being like, bro, I just came out of the dentist. I was like, I'm hardly going to have a cigarette, am I? I was like, you don't know what I've been through today. But that man obviously had been through worse. He looked absolutely dishevelled. So I was like, no, I don't, man. Sorry. He walked on and just found a cigarette butt on the ground and just thought it was like winning the fucking lottery. So yeah, now I'm just afraid to eat certain things. Like I'm sticking to my rice and my pasta and my chicken. But if I see anything like even a chewing gum now, I'm just staring at it scared. Um so yeah, I'm just very careful what I eat. But also now that I need all these fillings, I'm like, well, I don't want to eat sweet stuff anymore. But that's not going to stop me. Um, Probably the biggest thing that's happened since I've last been doing this was there was a break in. Like I said, it's a bit of a clickbait title, but there was a break in. So I was in work and I was there by myself for 2 hours. So I went in at 8 o'clock. I had to go in early. There was no one there from 8 till 10 apart from me. But I just felt like when I was there, I just felt like there was someone watching me the whole time. And I'm like I never get like that. I There's weird noises in the building anyway, so I was kind of used to them. But even still, I was like, "There's something not right here." And I was sending like Snapchats while I should have been working, but I was sending Snapchats being like, "I feel like there's something off here." And then the next thing, this may be like an hour and a half in, so around 9:30, I hear this noise like coming from maybe like fucking 10, 15 meters behind me. I turn around and just see this head bobbing around the place. And I was like, oh my fucking god. Absolutely terrifying. Like genuinely scared shitless. And my heart was beating so quick. But on the surface I was like calm and ready. Mom spaghetti. I fucking felt like Eminem walking out there. But I was the only one there, so I had to obviously go up to your man and be like, "Oh man, you all right?" And he turned around and oh my god, this man genuinely looked like he fell off a building and Edward Scissorhands tried to catch him. He was just completely mangled up. His face was all like cut and bloodied and everything, and he was just like, "Oh man, I fell asleep. I swear I fell asleep." I was like, "What the?" I was like, "All right." I was like, "You need to go though." I was like, I don't know what you're doing here," and he just walked away from me. So now I'm just facing the back of this dude, being like, "Right, well, he obviously didn't listen to me the first time, so." And I can't let him just wander the building. So I went to him and was like, "Man, sorry, you have to go." I was like, "Come on, the door's this way." So I opened the door and then turned around to, like, kind of chauffeur him out. And next thing you know, he has his fucking two hands full of shit. He was just holding loads of stuff, trying to rob them out of the building. First of all, I was like, that is very impressive that he managed to grab so much stuff in the 3 seconds that I wasn't looking at him. And second of all, what the fuck are you doing? You can't just steal stuff out of a building like that. But so I just told him, I was like, "Man, you need to drop all that." I was like, "What are you doing?" And then he was kind of like fidgeting and was just like, "Oh, ring my woman, ring my woman." I was like, "Who the fuck is your woman?" I was like, "I don't know who that is." He was like, "I have her number, ring her." And I was like, "No." I was like, "Get the fuck out." Obviously in a polite way, while also my heart was beating out of my chest. Um, and then he left. In fairness, he did leave quite easy. So then when he left, I was like, "Yeah, I fucking sorted him out," thinking I actually did something. I was just happy I didn't get stabbed. Uh, then when I told my manager, he started shouting at me, being like, he was like, "He could have had a knife, right? And he could have had a knife. He could have stabbed you." And I'm like, "Yeah, man, I know." I was like, "I was the one dealing with him. Of course, he could have had something, but he didn't." Um, but yeah, that was like probably the most exciting thing that's happened in my life in the past 2 years. Dealing with that, that close to the brink of death. I sound like such a tit. I am joking. But yeah, it was a wild, wild night. Oh, what else to talk about? There's been sweet fuck all that's happened since I've last been talking. I need to this mic is really pissing me off. It's just not in the right place at all. I don't even know how it looks in the video if anyone's watching it. But um, what will I talk about? Books. Now, I have been reading a lot of books since I started this podcast, actually, and I don't know what has happened, but I've kind of lost my mind reading books. So I've read 9 books in the past 8 weeks, which is very impressive. It's a good record to have. But books are for nerds, okay? I was actually listening to a podcast the other day, and none of my podcasts ever mentioned books. But this girl in one of them just goes, "Oh, if you read books, you're sad and lonely." I felt completely attacked. I was like, "Excuse me, I am not lonely." I was like, "I have friends. I do have friends. I swear to God." Um, I was like, "What the?" I was like, "What the fuck is this about?" But yeah, I felt so attacked, and I was like, "Well, the only thing I can do now to calm down is read a fucking book." So I've been reading a lot of Mick Herron. He's an author, obviously. He did the Slow House books. It's a series. It's also a series on Apple TV. I watched the first episode of it yesterday, and it's weird when you're. I know because I used to always just watch shows or movies that were based on books and be like, "Oh, that was deadly," and then someone would be like, "Oh no, but the book was better." So what I kind of got that. I kind of got that when I was watching this first episode yesterday. I was like, these people aren't as I imagined, and they all like. It sounds so stupid to say it, but they all sound really British, and like it's a really British book. It's set in London. It's set with people who work in MI5, which is obviously a very British establishment. But yeah, it was still a good episode. I'm gonna watch the rest of the season and the series. There's 3 seasons of it, so that'll keep me going. But I've been reading them books, and they've been very, very good so far. The only thing is, like when I first read one of Mick Herron's books, I was so confused because it wasn't even that there was big words; there was just really long sentences, and reading it made me feel really dumb. I had to read sentences over and over again just to understand what he said. Um, so it sounds stupid even saying it's a grown up book, but it's more grown up than the other books I was reading because it's very confusing. Um, yeah, but I've been spending a fortune on books as well, like so much money. How many? I have like 20 book. This mic is pissing me off. What the fuck is going on? Um, yeah, I've about 20 books there. I keep moving away from the camera as well. I don't know what's going on. It's been a while since I've done this. If you're just listening to this, you just hear me getting flustered. But if you're watching the video, you can just see this mic swiveling around. Um, but yeah, I've like 20 books there. That's so much money. And I was like, why am I buying all these? But I've been plowing through them at some rate, so I'll have them all read sooner or later. And then I'm back to buying more books. I also haven't bought a coffee machine yet. I've been talking about that for a while. There was a brand of coffee that I was looking at as well. I was like, that looks really nice, and it sounded like it tasted unbelievable. That's such a stupid sentence to say, but it did sound really nice. And then I put it into a basket and just was like, oh, I wonder how much the shipping is. The shipping was €155. I was like, how the fuck is it gonna cost that much just to ship the product? So I'm not getting it anymore. I've just decided I'll wait till I'm rich and famous. Thank you. Um, yeah. Anyway, next thing I wanted to talk about was nonce of the week. I feel like this is a weird segment to put into any podcast, but there's just so many nonces about the place. And recently, I'm sure everyone knows about it now, but the Quiet on Set, I think it was called, that fucking documentary done on Nickelodeon with Dan Schneider, the Schneider cut, Schneider, the Schneider cut needs his balls cut off more like, um, yeah, it's. I'm gonna like look at it here. It's very fucking weird. I know the whole thing about Drake Bell talking about everything that happened to him with that other dickhead. What was his name? Brian Peck. Absolute creep. And he only got sentenced to 16 months in prison. And like during the trial, like the hearing, whenever like the verdict was being read out, all the heads in Nickelodeon and that the network were just sitting on his side. Like imagine being a child and seeing that everyone who's supposed to basically care for you while you were working on their show, like going against you nearly. That is absolutely diabolical. But yeah, children's TV is so weird. I feel like if you're involved in children's TV, you have to be a bit of a weirdo because like it's such a compromising position to be in. Like these kids put so much trust in you, and then you do something like that. It's very fucking weird. Also, what's this thing about feet? I didn't watch the documentary. I just heard about it, but I remember watching Victorious when I was younger, like when it was on TV. Like we didn't have Sky or anything like that, so whenever we were up in my auntie's house, we'd stick it on. So whatever was on, we were just lucky we got to watch it. But at the end of every episode, there was like a just weird fucking like 2 minutes of TV where like the kids were just doing really fucking weird shit. Um, and there was a lot of feet. There's a lot of feet in the shows, which I never understood. But I didn't realize how much it was shown until hearing about this documentary. Like it's absolutely fucking tapped. So as a result of all this going out, Dan Schneider has then been speaking on an interview, putting his own YouTube channel, talking about everything that happened. And this was a quote: "Facing my past behaviors, some of which are embarrassing and that I regret, I definitely owe some people a pretty strong apology." Yeah, no shit. This man also doesn't show any remorse. Like he's saying all this, but his face was completely blank. It looked like he didn't care. It looked like he was just trying to cover his own arse. He said, every one of those jokes was written for a kid audience because kids thought they were funny and only funny. He said, now we have some adults looking back at them 20 years later through their lens and they're looking at them and saying, I don't think that's appropriate for a kid's show. And I have a problem with that. I know he said, and I have no problem with that. Let's cut those jokes out of the show. You wouldn't say let's cut those jokes out of the show if you already knew they were bad. I can't even speak properly, but you know what I mean. Like you wouldn't cut them out of the show if you're like, no, they're just jokes. Do you know? You stand behind what you do unless it's wrong, and then you're like, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't have done that. So yeah, it's absolutely fucking weird. and I was gonna watch it, but then I was like, I don't really want to know about fucking creeps like that in Hollywood. Like, there's creeps everywhere, obviously, but this man just seems absolutely crazy. I am looking up the next nonce of the week. What he's not really a nonce, but he kind of is. Um, Sean Diddy Combs, fucking P Diddy, right? Also, I found out when I was looking at this, P Diddy's middle name is Love. Sean Love Combs has been doing too much loving, apparently. He's an absolute fucking sex pest. So, the federal agents searched two of Sean Diddy Combs' houses on Monday as the rapper faces multiple civil lawsuits accusing him of sex trafficking, sexual abuse, and attempts to kill. A standard. So, he's not been formally charged or accused by federal prosecutors of a crime, but he's been about the business for fucking years and years. The rapper has faced a string of lawsuits starting when he was sued on November 16th last year by Cassandra Ventura, a singer and dancer who alleged Combs raped her in 2018 and subjected her to a years long abusive relationship that included punching, kicking, and stomping on her. Jesus Christ. Now, I'm sorry, but this is absolutely horrible to listen to. But you kind of need to hear it also because this is fucking crazy. The fact that he's able to do that to somebody, and this man has been in the public eye for years and years and years. Do you know? Here's another one. Another lawsuit. This was from a college student in 1991. There's another one in 1990. There's another one in 2003. Um, this is fucking horrendous. I actually don't even think I can say all this. I think I've already said enough. This is actually fucking horrible. He was also accused of trying to kill Kid Cudi with a fucking a car bomb, because he was going out with his ex, and he didn't want that. Also, he was accused of being gay. Now that's not a crime, obviously, but the fact that he was doing all this and then like this one, like motherfucker was just clapping Jay-Z's cheeks. Apparently, I don't know if that's true, but if it is, that's absolutely insane. Um, Obviously not a crime again, but it's just a wild thing to hear a rapper do. And yeah, fucking Cat Williams was right. All these years, he was saying all these Hollywood parties of these big superstars. There was just always gay activities going on in the back rooms. So I don't know. It's very fucked up. It's very fucked up. To go from that, well, try and go from that to something a bit lighter. I'm gonna go back onto weird headlines. Now, people were talking about weird headlines for a while, saying, "Oh, that was actually pretty funny when you did them." There hasn't been many funny headlines since. So I'm going to look now and see if anything has changed. Okay, so there's one here in New Zealand. Ram killed by a police officer after elderly couple found dead in a paddock at their home near Auckland. Wow. A ram believed to be responsible for killing an elderly couple has been shot dead by New Zealand police. Now, what if they shot the wrong ram? What if they got there and then one of them was just saying fuck 12 and just got a bit feisty and they shot the wrong one? Does that mean they just let a killer live and they just like who gets prosecuted for that? Um, that's fucking crazy. But also, a couple both above 80 years of age shouldn't be going anywhere near rams. Doesn't matter if they were yours or not. That just seems a bit unsafe. Let's just say the next one here is fucking ridiculous. The Loch Ness monster. NASA urged to help as new search begins. A new search will take place on the 90th anniversary of the expedition. What the fuck is wrong with people? So the 1934 picture of Nessie was later debunked as a hoax. Obviously, it's the only picture anyone has ever seen of the Loch Ness monster, and it genuinely looks like someone's just putting their hand up in the shape of a fucking swan's head. Um, But apparently now NASA's getting involved. I also seen that El Chapo's granddaughter or niece or someone like that is also urging people to look like like get involved in the hunt. So since the first expedition, there has been over 1,156 sightings recorded to the official Loch Ness Monster register. And of those 1,156 sightings, every single one of them is fucking fake. People have too much to be worried about, and everyone seems to not be worrying about the proper thing. And the proper thing is, escaped racehorse joins commuters at a train station and stands behind the yellow line. This motherfucker was in Australia, New Zealand's neighbours, with the ram. He escaped from, where the fuck did he escape from? Genuinely, man's just he's just standing waiting for the fucking. He's standing waiting for the train. Fair play to him. I don't even stand behind the yellow line sometimes, but he has more respect than I do. Um, any other funny? No, I was gonna say any other funny news stories, but there doesn't seem to be. All of these seem actually quite shit. This one actually sounds amazing. Man drinks at 120 bars in 24 hours to break a world record. A 69-year-old retiree visited 120 pubs to order drinks in 24 hours, breaking a Guinness World Record. David Clarkson, who was born in Britain but has lived in Australia for over 40 years, Australia back at it again, he probably fucking let the horse loose, started with his attempted drink at the Captain Cook Hotel in Sydney. He then walked to 119 more establishments over the course of the following 24 hours, ordering a drink at each stop. Did he drink alcohol at all of these? Or surely not. He took the title from another Australian, Harry Couros and Jake Loiterden, who visited 99 pubs in 24 hours. So not only did he beat the record, he decided to go above and beyond and go to 20 extra pubs for no fucking reason. That's the most Australian thing I've ever heard. Um, Runaway cow turns themselves in at a rescue facility. Nice, fair play. A herd of escaped cows weren't on the loose for very long off the island of Guernsey after they turned themselves in at an animal rescue facility. Talk about walking into luck. Um, what happens then if they go to an animal rescue centre? Do they then get to live there, or the person who owns them has the right to take it back? Because realistically, it's going to die. So is there a set of morals then put in place? Like I love eating meat. I think it's absolutely delicious. I don't care that the well, that sounds wrong. I don't want PETA or any vegans coming after me. But I'll kill and eat an animal. I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to say much more of these. There is a few funny ones, but I am going to have some dinner because I'm fucking starving. So that is all I have to say for this episode. Now I know it wasn't the best or the most ideal, but I needed to put out an episode because I've waited too long. So if you did like this, there must be something wrong with your head. So please get it checked, but also follow the podcast. And yeah, make sure you follow me on Instagram because I need feedback. That is the one thing I'm really looking for now. Even just any constructive criticism at all, please let me know. But yeah, that's all I have to say really. So I will be back next week. I will make sure I do this weekly. I won't miss another week, hopefully. Um, but yeah, until then, look after yourself, look after each other, and all the best.